Okay guys, this is the very basic summary of if you need to use the Tricaster to record your segment for the news, what should you do? So let's get started. Okay. So we know every episode, there's a Wednesday episode and a Friday episode, and there's a producer who makes sure all those segments come together within the episode. So if you are a segment producer, you want to try to figure out, are you going to record and edit your segment together, or are you going to try to just record it straight into the Tricaster? Are you going to put the graphics in the Tricaster, or just record and then take it to Premiere and edit it? But either way, it's probably good to know how this works. So you come to here and you go to live. We can do titles like lower thirds and stuff like that in here through this graphics panel. I did some earlier and saved them and wasn't able to figure out how to get them into the program. So we're going to start with the very basics. No graphics at first, just cutting between cameras, and then later we'll look at adding the graphics. So let's plan, unless you want to explore yourself, to start off with editing in any lower thirds or just leaving them out. But I hit start live production, and so now it's pulling up the Tricaster. The buttons are lighting up. These buttons correlate to what you see in the program. Just for the beginning though, let's get used to just using this. Okay, so now that we are in here, let's look at the layout. We have our two inputs, which the main is where our main anchors are going to be. We're going to get a wide shot of that. Input 2 is where you have a mid shot of one of your anchors. You can see I've already keyed the green screen, but how you do that is you click the sprocket and you go to image, and then you can see keying, and you just click and drag it to that part. And as far as the workspace, you go to workspaces. You want a program taking up the whole screen of that second screen, so that's why I put A right there. And then you want kind of an arrangement with preview next to program right here, so I chose that one. Okay, so when you have that, you are then able to see what it looks like over here. So you can adjust the keying a little bit by changing the tolerance. I'm not sure, I hope you can see this. And the input until there's no fuzzies. Oh, that's pretty good. And then adjust here as well. Okay, you can also crop. I did a crop, which for me, I think I feathered. Which adds a little blurriness around the edges, which is something that we can do, but don't have to. Anyway, so how do I set up to have the background behind my screen? Well, that's called the mix effects. So ME right here is the mix effects. So everything in this panel right here deals with your mix effects. So I want A is the foreground, B is the background. I want camera 1 in the foreground. What do I want in the background? Well, here are your options. You can have another camera in the background. So I could put input 2 in the background. But how can I see what effect I'm having for mix effects? What I need to do is, in program, choose that to be the mix effects. Okay, so mix effects, I'm working on mix effects 1 right here. If that's what I want to see in program, that should show right here. The problem is, I don't see that. Because for some reason I have this up as key. Let's just hit, nope. I cause that transition to fade. Key means it's going to go over it. So I had graphics 1 going over it. I have this background chosen in graphics 1, so that was going over it. It's best, of course, to have my lower thirds. And I have my lower thirds in graphics too. So whatever you have for key is going to go over it. So you probably don't want a background for the key. Anyway. Now I'm seeing Mix FX 1. How do I get that background behind it? Well, I have the foreground is my shot. The background is currently camera 2. That's why you can see 2 shots of that photo right there. If I want my background to be, let's see, DDR. No. I don't have anything in DDR2. You can put things in DDR1 and 2 by hitting the plus sign right here. If you have something on an external disk, just plug it into the Tricaster and then hit browse. And before you import it, copy it from the disk. So Control-C and paste it on the media drive and put it in a folder where you're going to know where it is. So I have an importing folder right here and regular SBN materials. I'm just going to go ahead and find, let's use this one, background news. So that's now in DDR1. So let me make DDR1 my background. Now I got that background news back here. So we need to figure out what our backgrounds are going to be. And in Mix Effects, DDR1, can I zoom? You can zoom right here. So I can zoom on the background and I can change the position of the background so that it's bigger. There we go. Okay, and of course if I want to get rid of that, I can fade that down. Okay, so hopefully you understand the basics of the setup. You got Mix Effects, where you're mixing 2 shots or a shot and some media together. You set that up on this line. You set the foreground on A, the background on B. You got Program, which is what you're seeing in the big screen. That's what we're going to be recording. So Program is the final thing. Preview, though, is where you prep something to get ready for the next shot. So what do I want my next shot to look like? Okay, I said I wanted my next shot to be input 2. So if I just want it to be the camera, I could do 2 for the preview. But as you see, in 2, there's no background. If I want the background in 2, I think I hit something without meaning to. I got to go to Mix. Okay, let's just take. What happened to my Mix Effects? ME1. Oh, I had DDR. I had DDR in autoplay. So the background went away because it's in autoplay. It's going to continue playing. So let's see if I click this. Okay, I'm going to set this. So it's like this now. Let's do autoplay. I want it not to play another one after this one. I want it to just stop at this one. Autoplay is good because when you switch to DDR to play some media, it's going to automatically play so you don't have to come down here and press play. There's no delay. But anyway, I got my Mix Effects up. They're in Program. But for my next shot, I want this to have a background. So I can't use just input 2 because that's a black background. So why don't I set up Mix Effects 2? And on Mix Effects 2, I of course want shot 2 in the foreground. What do I want in the background? I could do DDR1 again in the background. And this is called Mix Effects 2. So now, for preview, I want Mix Effects 2 going on. And of course, in Mix Effects 2, I may want to zoom up my position a little bit. So you can prep your shot right here. But before you even start recording, you want to go ahead and have your shots lined up and know what's next. When we get more fluent with it, we'll have the media lined up and we can just take to the media too. So to take, there's a take button on the board. There's also a take button up here and an auto button. Auto will use a transition to take. Okay, let's see. Oh, if we want to record, so we got it set up, now we want to record. Let's go ahead and use the sprocket right here to say where we want it to record. So anytime we're going to record, we need to set where we want it to record. We always want to record mix 1, which is going to be like what we see in program. It's going to be all our titles and shots. We're going to hit go over to record, and then we need to give it a name. We will name it by the episode and whatever segment of the episode it is. So as I said, each segment is going to have its own producer. So that producer will designate who records the segment. So it could be the episode editor, or it could be somebody within the segment. So let's say we're working on recognitions. The crew for recognitions is Blake, Paula, and Sophia. So Blake is the producer for recognitions. He wants to record recognitions for our second episode. So that would be Ep, Og, whatever Friday. So I'm going to put Ep, Og, no Friday. So everything for episode 2, August 14th, Friday, will go into a folder for that episode. So how do you determine where it goes? You choose the path. And so we got Tricaster recordings here. And for each episode, you're making a new folder. So I'm going to make a new folder and call it Ep, Og, 14 Friday. Okay. But this is only the recognitions part of that episode. So I'm going to call it Ep, Og, no Fry, Rec, Cog. I got my caps lock on, so everything's backwards of how I need it to be. Okay. And that's all I need to do. So I'm going to close that. But I'm not recording until I hit record up here. When I hit record up here, it records the file in an MP4 format, which is good enough for us to move to a flash drive and stuff like that. So how do we get it to Premiere? They say it's going to be connected through the network. So we should be able to just put it into a network folder and open the network folder from Premiere. There's also this NDI thing that they say. It's like a new device interface where apparently we can put people's computers as inputs and pull them up and record straight from their computer. So if you edited something in Premiere, we could do that. And it can talk both ways, so we could somehow send it to their computer. I don't know. Anyway, for now, we're just going to use record. We've already told it where we want it to record. We've already told it the name. So here we go. I'm recording, as you can see. I, of course, want to... You're only going to record recognitions. So for recognitions, do you want a 2-shot with just both of them talking at the same time, or do you want to jump to the 1-shot where it zooms in? It's your call, and it also depends on whether there's going to be a lot of talking. If there's a lot of talking, you want to go to a 2-shot. So anyway, for my first shot, let's see if I can do input 3. Just because it's black, it's good to start with black. So input 3 is my first shot. I want my second shot to be ME1, which I had set up. So that's what I'm programming in preview. And when I'm ready, I hit take on the board, or take right here, or auto if I want to use a transition. So take, and I can use this to zoom into the anchors if I would like. Oh, the autoplay made that thing, so I gotta unclick autoplay because I want to keep that up. We can look into whether we want to program that as graphics. Let me just go ahead and try that. So graphics 1 will be the background here. Graphics probably won't play, so that may be a better choice. So graphics 1 is now my background, which looks like a Skeeto in jail. We probably need some new backgrounds. Anyway, what else can we do? Okay, so that's my shot. Let's go ahead and put that background on ME2 as well. So ME2 is now going to be graphics 1. And if I want something different, I could program something in graphics 2 over here. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. ME2 will be graphics 2. ME2, graphics 2. Okay. So anyway, I don't want to go back to black. I want to go to ME2 next. That's my next shot that I want to do. Ooh, I do not like the position of that. Let's zoom out a little bit before I get it up there. So it's nice. You can use the preview to see what's next and prepare it, and then take. And I got them talking, and typically it's just taking back and forth between these two until we start to have media that's ready that we want to play. So let's say they're doing this and we're about to go to the episode close. Well, the episode close is in DDR1, so in preview I want to put DDR1. I don't think it actually is in DDR1. Let's look at DDR2. I don't have it in there either. Oh, it is in DDR1. Okay, so it's right here. So now I'm going to hit take. But since I took out autoplay, it's not going to play it until I hit play. So it may take some fiddling with the settings and stuff. But I think once we get practicing with this, we'll get used to it and we'll be able to advance to higher levels with getting graphics ready and getting them up and having better and better stuff. So I'm done recording. I now have 3 minutes of stuff here. I'm just going to hit that. So the question is, where did it go? So if we're producing stuff for Friday's episode, oops, I thought I took out autoplay. If we're producing stuff for Friday's episode, we want to actually bring it in so that we could have all the stuff for Friday's episode in this one session. And then we could play them back and forth as we record. However, that does take a little time. Or we can export them into our network or onto our flash drive and then put them together in Premiere. That will be up to the episode editor, how they want to do that. They could do it through the Tricaster or they could do it through Premiere. But to find it, I just go to plus for the DDR, and there's pluses on both sides. So I have DDR2 and graphics 2 over here. I got DDR1 and graphics 1 over here. So let's just go to DDR2 this time, and I'm going to find that episode I just recorded. It looks like it's pulling up right here. Yes, it is. That's that goofy name that I put for it. Okay, and there it is. So I now have it. Oh, it's a .mov file. Okay, let's say I want to export it. So I'm going to click that and then click. I'm just going to choose export. I want to see if I can get an MP4 file from this. This one. Okay. Okay, last of all, let's see what my files look like. I'm hitting browse to see my files. Media, I'm going to go to sessions. That's usually where it saves stuff. Export, here it is. Let's see the details of my file. This is kilobytes, which should fit my flash drive, which is nice. And it is an MP4. So this is what I'm going to copy, Control C. And then I'm going to find my flash drive and Control V it on there, or find the network folder, and then put it on my flash drive, and then I can pull it up in editing on my computer, or we can upload it to YouTube, that kind of thing. So that's basically how the Tricaster works, and I can help answer any questions if you have them. I would love for you to practice with it. But let's go ahead and we're going to close down. So I go to File, Exit, Exit. We only have to do this on the weekends. Graphics is where you can look at making titles, which The great thing about making titles in the Tricaster is then you can just change the name of somebody on that Tricaster page without having to add pictures later. But we can look at that later. And finally, before the weekend, we got to shut it down. So you go to shut down. And I'm tired of working with this Tricaster, so I'm just going to shut it down. Shut down. I'm just going to shut down the Tricaster. So a couple things I didn't mention is you want to have the Tricaster headphones on to make sure you're getting good audio. You want to monitor the audio and adjust audio levels. You can see that in the other video, or I'll talk to you about it as it becomes relevant. But anyway, time to shut down. Shut down Tricaster. Shut down.